quality within AS1, it's quite a big topic. You need to know the definition of quality. You need to know all the different approaches and measures to quality, and be able to evaluate those as well. And that'd be probably the key things with it. Quality itself relates to the individual characteristics of each product that enable the business to satisfy a customer. It can be the USP or the deciding factor in a very competitive market, so it's very important to be of a good sound quality. Product quality relates to how much a product is fulfilling its requirements. So for example, the rainproof jacket, it's not going to let water in. This includes factors such as reliability, safety, durability, usability and customer service. So that is just some of the aspects within quality. And then you bring in the case study as an example. How is it measured? Number of ways it can be measured. You could be asked a definition or an analysing question on this. How many products have had to be reworked or scrapped during the manufacturing process will be one piece of evidence. How many customer complaints you've had. The number of faulty goods that have been returned by retailers is another. So say if you're a manufacturer and the retailing companies have sent stuff back to you. Market research showing customer satisfaction, dissatisfaction. Have you received any quality standards or rewards? If you've benchmarked between competitors and things, but it can be quite difficult to depend on how much information you have on your competitors. And then just your different quality control and quality assurance processes. I'd probably go with, like, for example, number of complaints, reviews from customers, and how many products have been scrapped or reworked within the business. Now, two first key things: quality control versus quality assurance. Quality control is when you detect any products at the end of the manufacturing process, usually at the end. It doesn't always have to be, but usually at the end. And it's carried out by specially trained staff who inspect and test the products before they go out to customers. It can take place at any point, but it's usually done at the end by the business, but it just depends on a business's own choice, really. But the big thing is that they have specially trained staff who do this. The idea is, or the hope is, that it will stop faulty goods reaching the consumer, which could impact the reputation. So it'll involve like quality checking and things. I think at the time we watched a video on cornflakes, and it was someone's job just to check them. We did Bentley as well, I think, with the cars, and specially trained staff were checking all different elements. Benefits of this, well, it should remove the chance of faulty products making it to the final consumer, which could impact reputation and things. So you're minimising that happening because it's being carried out by specially trained staff, and you are checking. However, if this is done towards the end of the product, or if it ends up being rejected a good bit through before the faults are detected, then obviously that is going to be very costly for the business, and that can cause issues. Because you might have to change the whole process or change the whole product then. The other thing is that workers don't have the responsibility of checking this, okay? It's up to the specially trained staff, but they might feel like quality's not their issue, but they might become very detached from the production process, feel it's not their responsibility, and that obviously can cause an issue coming through. So that would be the kind of key things with it. But because those staff don't have to take that responsibility, it's up to the specially trained staff, so the chances are that, you know, they're more likely to be found. It puts less workload on general staff because it's being carried out by specially trained staff. You're not having to train all your staff and find any faults. You have a specially trained team who do that. So that can kind of be good from a business point of view. If obviously profitability could be impacted if defect levels are high, so if you're finding quite a number of them, so you might have to kind of reassess your manufacturing components and really look at what way you carry it all out as a business. Quality assurance then, this is where the onus is on all staff to do self-checking, and the hope is that you have zero defects reaching the final customer, but the big difference here is it's up to all staff. Okay, so what the business is trying to do here is minimise any chance of faults happening in the first place. I suppose that's a big thing, by putting an onus on self-checking from all staff. Why is it good? I suppose you're hoping that costs will go down, especially wastage costs, because you're hoping that it'll get right every time, and you'll be then more efficient in that as a business. So less wastage, less reworking, because it's being checked throughout every stage of the manufacturing process, whereas quality control is more so maybe at the end, or maybe just one or two stages along the way. Worker motivation can also be improved because they're getting responsibility to do this. However, the counter to that would be demotivation because of excess workload, and maybe not getting the extra pay to actually do that. So that can be an issue too. General kind of benefits that of it, reduces costs, add value, good brand, customer loyalty, all the general kind of benefits of having good quality. But it's just kind of up to a business. The onus, I suppose, they put in staff and deciding to do that. Issues with it, as I said, staff might feel workload and they're not actually getting any recognition for this extra workload, and that can be an issue. It's also costly because it's all staff taking responsibility for this, so you have to maybe train them, or you will have to train them to do self-checking, find the faults, and that can actually then also, another issue is slow down productivity because the staff are doing the self-checking, whereas in the quality control it's up to the specially trained team of staff to do it. So that's really that one. Now, a quality policy is something internal to the business. So when I was teaching this, I would have explained like the school is a homework policy or behaviour policy. So the business draws up a quality policy themselves. So it'd be the management expressing their goals, what their intentions are, the directions, the aims they're looking for, and bringing that through. Why is it good? Well, it'll act as a guide to your staff, what's expected for them, and the staff will see that the business values good quality, and it might attract and retain really good staff within the business, because of a guide to work towards as well. You might appreciate having in writing all the key goals with regards to quality that the business is looking for, so it can act as kind of a measure with their work. The other option is that it can allow you to charge maybe higher prices because you have this quality policy. It's maybe on your website, it's shown within the business, and that can give you a USP in the market compared to businesses who don't have it, and your quality would be expected to be higher, less faults in the production process. So reputation, corporate image, increase your sales, your profits, your market share, and that as well. So that can be a good thing. It brings about good PR. The other big thing is it should help you avoid costly complaints because you have this quality policy and staff know what they're working towards. So there's less chance of mistakes happening, or that's the hope anyway. However, it's not that it takes time and money to draw this up. It's relatively straightforward. You might have to do a wee bit of research on different quality policies, but it's definitely going to take time and money to implement it, and that's the big thing. So if you have all these quality goals you're trying to achieve, the time and money needed to actually put it in place can be an issue. The other key things with it, if you don't achieve it, or if you have a quality issue and it ends up in the media, or a customer finds it and then they see your quality policy maybe on your website or that, then that can bring about bad PR, so that can be an issue too. Your staff get a lot of pressure put on them to constantly meet kind of quality targets and what you're trying to do, and that could impact productivity. It could distract staff from other elements of the business. They might just feel like they're under a lot of pressure all the time, and they might not enjoy that, so that's an issue too. Another element of quality is TQM, total quality management. Now, total quality management is the idea of your zero defects, and that so kind of links in with quality assurance, what the business is trying to achieve. It's about having all members of the business working towards improving all the time, improving their services, their products, having a really good culture. We looked at this with regards to Toyota. So like total quality management, the TQM, they're constantly trying to be better and constantly trying to do better. Why is this good? If you're following this pattern, it's not an award or anything. It's about you just implementing something like a bit like quality assurance, quality control. None of these are awards, but it's more like trying to guide, I suppose, the business and what they're trying to achieve. The idea with total quality management is like things like quality assurance, quality circles, so having your staff meeting teams and discuss quality and how to improve, really trying to promote zero defects happening, quality chains with your stakeholders and especially your suppliers and that, and trying to find really good suppliers, and that's a big thing. So showing that dependence that's needed and having good suppliers, for example, that you can rely on. Very statistical analysis will be used in this because you're constantly trying to improve, and like even it's the Toyota, it's like the 1% margins can make all the difference. So continual improvement's a big kind of word associated with total quality management and always trying to do better. Good communication as well, like you see that with, like, say for example, staff sitting down and trying to look at how they can improve. Benefits of it, like PR, competitive advantage end of things, higher productivity in that, because you're maybe being more innovative, you're maybe building customer loyalty, retention, market share, because you're always doing better and you're always trying to do better, and that kind of filters out as part of your reputation then. The issue though is that it demands you to change your business, usually change the culture, because you're always trying to continuously improve in order to satisfy customers. But that can cause a lot of conflict. Like, it puts a lot of pressure on your staff. Staff sometimes don't like change, and it can take time away from other elements of the business, so that can be an issue too. It's expensive to implement because you're trying to make these changes, and like quality change, trying to make sure that's good, zero defects happening, quality circles, allowing people to sit in teams, discuss how to improve, but that takes time away from the day-to-day work. You're constantly having to try and train your staff to be better, putting in account machinery and all, even the statistical techniques, all of that is costly for the business. Nevertheless, in the long term it may reduce the costs, because you're obviously having zero waste, zero defects. That's the overall goal of this. So even though it short term wise will cost money to implement all this, implement good communication systems, good machinery, constantly trying to improve, the hope would be that you can reinvest and put that into maybe further growth, because you're now more efficient than ever. The last part of quality is the actual one award. There's numerous awards you can get, but you only need to know one within your IS1 spec for quality, and it's the ISO 9000. So this is an award awarded by an external agency to a business. So you become ISO 9000 certified. There's 9001, 9002, right the way through. So it's a certification. It's formal, and it's the only one that's actually assessed by external coming through. The idea of it is that you can have it on your website, you can have it on your products, you can use it as a USP, a branding element, and it'll show that you're a superior quality perhaps to an uncertified firm. The idea is that with an ISO that you are consistent, you're following like procedures and that to be high quality coming through. What's the benefits of it? Well, you're going to have this as a massive PR, logos, and it shows that you're a high standard because you've been awarded it. It might then give you a competitive edge, justify higher prices, which people will be more willing to pay because they know you're certified, so they're more willing to buy it from you. However, you might be able to charge the higher prices because you, compared to a competitor who doesn't have it, they might still be a high quality, they just haven't bothered to actually go and get it. They could be a similar quality to you but are cheaper, so consumers might value that more than paying the high price for this logo. So you need to be very careful of the market you're in as well. The other thing within it, well, it would mainly be the brand. The USP is probably the big thing, and the sales and market share, and then comes out of that. It should allow you for savings as well, because you should have less faulty products being returned because you're meeting these certified standards that are expected by the ISO. So there's less chance of failure and things not being to a high standard. The biggest issue with the ISO is that it is likely, or it is very expensive to achieve it. you maybe have to change a lot within your production in order to meet the target set, statistical analysis and things like that. Within that too, that cost, you're also going to have a lot of paperwork to produce. So in terms of expensiveness, it can be time and money expensive, and you might have to do, well, you will have to do a lot of paperwork, so that's a big thing. You're also going to have maybe a lot of statistical quantitative analysis to ensure you're hitting targets constantly. All that paperwork, all that extra workload, statistical analysis and all can be very demotivating for staff. It can distract from your key objectives, maybe like profitability and things, and the operations of the business. So that could cause a lot of issues. The counter that would be that it is money well spent, because in the long run you would hope to save a lot of money, become very efficient as a business, less waste going out, constantly improving, constantly meeting standards, so less returns not coming in, and that has a big issue. All right. And yeah, so that's kind of the key things, and that's quality then summed up.